And I don't have
Welcome
an
to the market recap presented by Tackle Trading. Get in the game.
And welcome out to our market recap Friday, 8/31, the day, the end of the week for the market. And we're heading into a holiday week for U.S. markets. So it's going to be a long weekend. Let's kind of recap the markets. Cameron, nice to see you, young man, for hosting. Appreciate that. First time doing the recap, Cam. I need to maybe set up my YouTube as well. Double check a few things. And let me know. I'm going to share my screen. Cam, let me know if you can see that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just saw it now. Thank you.
Okay, heat map today. As you look at a heat map, it's going to give you a lot of information. And obviously, we have a mixed market here. Google down 1.8%, had a real poor performing day. Facebook down as well, Twitter down. Microsoft, though, Amazon, Apple, some of the better performing stocks. In general, that heat map to me is kind of a, mixed market. There's no doubt about it. Some green, some red, all over the place. Kind of the market is a stock picker's market as we're going into the weekend. Weakness in materials, weakness in healthcare just for the day, weakness in utilities and whatnot over the one-day performance. Now, as we look at a one-week performance for the market, it is Friday afternoon. It's a good day to kind of look at the overall week. You had pretty strong performance across the board in technology. Good week for tech. In almost the entire market, healthcare was the one underperformer. Some consumer products and utilities pretty flat for the week. As we go over to tackle trading, best way to review the quick charts on the market is if you come over here to the trade center in tackle trading. And down here, we're going to start with the market skyline, which is where I've already kind of had our teams pre-build all the different lists that we want inside tackle trading. Same heat map right at the top. As you scroll down, you're going to find some of the major indices here. The S&P 500 finished the day at 2902, and as you look at that chart, it's a beautiful uptrend. As we break it down to a 30-minute chart, volatility throughout the day, selling at the end of yesterday, overnight, up in the morning, back down, and then a nice little rally there right at the very end of the day. Hourly candlesticks, you can see the same thing. Generally, the daily candlestick is the most important one to watch. Dow Jones Industrial, uptrend, pullback, pivot. NASDAQ, uptrend. The NASDAQ is at a high point right now and very, very bullish. It's a great looking chart. Tech has been the story this year, and it's been the story for several years, actually. Small cap Russell 2000 hit an all-time high today. Small capitalization stocks, the NASDAQ, I've got them ranked NQ as the first index, the strongest. The Russell is the second. The S&P is the third, and then the Dow is the fourth. That's my personal ranking of the indexes right now. Bitcoin had a pretty good couple of weeks. It found 6,000 down here on the bottom, started to rally. It's back up to about 7,000. Interesting pattern developing. On the long term, it's still ugly. Okay, you've got a downward compression. You've got major support at 6,000. But in the short term, I'm sure the headlines are pretty good. It popped from 6,000 to 7,000 over the last few weeks. Volatility index, that's yesterday's candlestick, kind of flat down there at about 13. Emerging markets, the international markets have been weak and bearish. In fact, lower low, lower high, 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 lower low, lower high. As we zoom in here, very bearish on Thursday, little green candle on Friday. Now, if you look at this candlestick right here, what you have is you have another day that actually is not good. We put in a lower high on the candlestick, a lower body low, but a higher tail. Not the weakest candle in the world. Not a great candle, though, just because it was up 0.5%. I wouldn't call that bullish or anything. Actually, still very much in a downtrend. And then the overall international markets with VEU. Long-term downtrend, same kind of weakness. Internationally, they've been weak. Commodity markets, the dollar had a green candle today. It's moved more into a neutral range. Big rally in August, big sell-off in, the back end of August. Here we are at the back end. They've got a Federal Reserve announcement in the middle of September. They're expected to raise interest rates. After Jerome Powell came out and said they were not raising interest rates, the dollar really took it on the chin through the week. Look for that thing to make a decision at some point here on which way it's going to go. Gold is overall bearish. The 5 candles for the week, okay? Friday, it showed a high point up here at 12.15, but closed down at 12.05. Weakness on gold, weakness on Thursday, strength on Wednesday, weakness on Tuesday. It tried to pop up there on the 27th a little bit, but mostly through the week, we've been selling back down. The highs of the week up in the 1220 range, the lows in the week down around the 1200 range. It's at a key location here for 1200. I think if it triggers below that, you're going to continue that longer term downtrend here. Very interesting pattern on gold. Silver, bearish. Okay. Selling, rally, selling, rally, selling in general. Crude oil, bullish in the short term. Long term, it's actually really good. Intermediate term, it's very mixed. You have a shoulder up here at 72.5 back in May. Volatility sold off in June. Big rally in late June. Big sell-off in July and August. Now we're rallying back again. The current sentiment in crude oil is that we're popping back up here. Greg Holmesy right there peeking at me, Cam. Look at him. Kind of freaked me out right there. Just seeing old Greg Holmes just
eyes.
Right there. Just his eyes.
I think he was on Home Improvement.
Yeah. What was that guy's name over the fence?
The neighbor.
The neighbor. Yeah. Wilson, right?
That sounds about right.
I think it was Wilson. Yeah. That's an old show. NG. In fact, my girlfriend, when I was a kid, she was so in love with Jonathan Taylor Thomas. I was jealous of him, Cam. She had a JTT poster in her room when I was like 14. I didn't like it. NG, it does. Yeah, it does. There are a lot better men than me that were beaten out by JTT back in the 1990s. I can tell you that. We'll leave it at that. Uptrend through the year, selling, rally. Natural gas actually had a good pullback and pivot. Red candle, red candle, red candle, green pivot. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday were really good for natural gas. Some entry points in there that we're developing. Palladium has been crazy bullish. I don't trade it. I like palladium, interested in it, but it's been super strong. And then copper, not been strong. Copper, the number one user of copper in the world is China. And when there's weakness internationally, commodity like copper is going to take it on the chin. Since June, it's been down, quite a bit, 25%, and then some red candles here throughout the week. So copper prices are down. So we look at the sector roundup for the week. Real estate, bullish. Consumer discretionaries, really bullish. Those are your retail type stocks. Tech has been great. Industrials, slightly bullish, kind of got them in the middle there. Materials are more neutral. Energy, I'm actually bearish on. Staples, I like the pullback. Healthcare has been a juggernaut. Utilities on a pullback here. And financials have been pretty strong as well. Tackle 25, some of the better performers in general, I would say. Apple Computer has been a juggernaut. I'll just highlight a couple here. Really interested in what E-Trade is doing down here at the bottom, trying to find a support. I've liked the brokers and the banks for a long time. Keep E-Trade on a watch list. There's no doubt good Tackle 25 stock. Alibaba, they had earnings a couple weeks ago. They're trying to find some support here around that 165 mark. At 175 right now, I've got a neutral call, but I do like the long-term support on Baba, stock I keep track of quite often. DR Horton, nice little short-term trend through the summer. Pull back and pivot. Keep an eye on DHI. Tesla's been ugly. 300 has been key support, but I got to tell you, I dug into quite a few of the automakers over the, the course of the week. Ford, GM, Tata Motors. Tesla's a better performer automaker I don't even know if they are an automaker, quite frankly. They don't put a lot of Teslas out. That's one of the knocks on Musk Elon Musk, is that they keep borrowing money, but they don't have a lot of production. Flat to neutral long term. This is a very key point here, down in this 270, 290 zone. The earnings for Tesla were good, but then they had all that craziness in Twitter and Musk lately, and it came back down. And now they might be investigating them for insider trading type stuff and some of the interesting information that's been coming out there. Freeport McMoran, bearish. By the way, if you're watching this live, welcome. It's Coach T, Tackle Trading. Looks like we got a few people here. If you are watching it, give me a quick like and share. I wouldn't mind to get somebody else in here. Valero's looking good. Facebook is ugly. I don't like it. And one of the reasons why the industrial sector has been held back is because Boeing is so strong and it's been weak to neutral. Now, one thing on Friday that I think about a lot is how did we do throughout the week? And if you're a pro member of Tackle Trading, you had a lot of picks from the stock report and the options report and the commodity report and the Forex report from last week. Check those premium reports. It's the reason why you pay for a membership at Tackle Trading. Okay. And as I look at the week, some of the stock picks that were just great. Delta Airlines had a wonderful week, made about $2 in price, up, 4 out of 5 green candles there. Twillo, mostly flat. Real estate, beautiful trigger right back here on Tuesday. Rally, needs to break out of 34. Yelp had a pretty good week right here. These would have been picks from last week. You should have been playing some of these. Mosaic, wonderful week. Started out right here on the 27th. That stock is up about 4 or 5% this week from last weekend's report picks, right? A lot of good picks there. Some bearish candidates as well. Actually really like DO triggering here. Check these out. Always go through those reports on a weekly basis. Stock report was pretty good. Option report was fantastic. Now, one thing that I did add on the option report, by the way, that's me tooting my own horn. I did the option report, Cam. So it is what it is. If you trade options, I've added a whole component on neutral and volatility. So you have Boeing, you have Tesla. Boeing was a neutral play long-term, and it was a great right in the middle of the range. There's no doubt about it. Tesla, I called for a bi-directional play, which means it just needed volatility, and sure did it. It had a 7% move this week from top to bottom. So you caught the move that you were looking for. Earnings plays on CRM, beautiful breakout. I like it. I love that stock. And the earnings actually carried through right here. Lululemon, look at this one. This stock on earnings today, and it was on our report from last weekend, it was up $17, 13%, and just made a crazy move. Must be a lot of people buying Lululemon and doing their thing. Yeah, been great. Nike's got volatility coming up. Check those picks. I'm not going to go through all of them. Bear picks, there's quite a few. Steel companies were down. X was on that list. I still like Weight Watchers for a potential play. Occidental Petroleum setting up. But really the week was won by the Bulls. Okay. World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, had a wonderful week. It was up about 5 points through the week from last weekend's option report pick. 5 points on an $82 stock is about, what is that? 6%, good 6% week on that report pick. There's some money to be made on this stuff, guys. Jack in the Box started the week out about 88, closed up at 90.64. So a couple of points on Jack in the Box. Pan W, this was one of the best picks of the week. Started the week back in this 225 range, ended up at 231. Very, very strong bullish conditions. GoDaddy kind of flat up on the top. Beautiful week for CF Holdings. Beautiful week for Delta Airlines. And some other ones as well. Every weekend, my advice to you guys is to go and review and use those reports to set your next week up. You can't wait until I'm going through them on the weekend from last week's picks. You got to go and get the ones from this week so you're ready for next week's trading. I want to take a look at next week's conditions in the economic calendar, and then we're going to wrap this puppy up here in just a minute. Calendar. Next week, Monday, September 3rd is Labor Day. So be aware of that. U.S. markets are going to be closed. Global markets, of course, do not observe U.S. holidays, but, U.S. markets should be closed. Tuesday, September 4th, you have an ISM number. That's manufacturing economic data, not a big market mover in general. Non-farm unemployment, manufacturing PMI, the crude oil inventories. But the big one next week will be on Friday. The unemployment report comes out from the Labor Department. Now, historically, and we'll be looking at this throughout our shows next week, there's no doubt about it, we're at a low point. Fundamentals of the economy are really good. We're at 3.9% unemployment. People who want a job generally have a job. And this report once a month, the first Friday of every month, can be a market mover. With the Federal Reserve having their interest rate meeting in September, in fact, let me peek ahead at that. I think it should be that third week of September. It could even be the fourth week. Yep, it is the fourth week of September. On Wednesday, September 26th, the Federal Reserve will be releasing their interest rate policy statements. Now, that policy statement is expected to have a rise in interest rates. The only thing that could derail that is if you had some kind of conversation that unemployment was not moving in the right direction or inflation or something. I don't expect that. But next Friday, with the unemployment report, you will get some key information for that. Earnings for next week. And let me check at one of my pre-scanned filters, large cap earnings next week. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of companies that report next week. Workday, Palo Alto Networks was a swing trade because they got earnings coming up. Have to be quick on that. Marvel Tech, C-Trip. One I'll be paying attention to is Broadcom. Broadcom's an interesting company. And also, I think is going to be an interesting earnings to take a look at. Singapore-based company. Costco has earnings next week, and then British American Tobacco. All right, guys, that is it for our market recap on a Friday. Thank you for being here. If you're watching this live, it's good to have you. And have a safe, enjoyable holiday weekend. Spend some time with family, get outside, enjoy the weather, get in the game, get over to Tackle Trading, and make sure that you are set up for that pro membership so you can get these reports on the weekend and you can start preparing for your trades next week. All right, Cam, I'm out.